Hey everyone, welcome to another Dr. Dirtland office hours. Today we're going to talk about Florida properties. We're going to talk about a couple of properties here in Florida. We're going to talk about subdivision, how to go about a subdivision, and also too a mobile home package. So we're going to talk about possibly subdividing a piece of land. It's 2 acres, possibly we'll split it in half into one and then talk about a mobile home package and how we can underwrite a mobile home package, how we can essentially back our numbers from what we think we're going to get purchase price wise and kind of back them all the way down to check and see what our profit would be. So stay tuned, hang out. Thanks for coming, and we'll get started. Hello, hello.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Uh-oh, where'd you guys go? Hold on one second. There it is. Seth, how we doing?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
Good. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. David, welcome in, sir.
How's everybody doing today?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. First time I've been able to make it on one of these, so
Nice. Welcome.
yeah. Figured I'd come
Welcome.
check it
Welcome.
out.
Yeah. Come hang out with all the cool kids. Love it. Awesome. Cool. Do either one of you guys have any questions for me right off the bat? Or with things that you want to learn about or figure out today or anything like that?
I wouldn't say
Any
any
burning questions?
questions right now, but do have a bunch of land in my area that I'm looking at, and I found a general contractor to work with that wants to put some houses on them with me. So
Awesome.
just kind of interested in seeing what some of the values might be on these things.
Sure. Absolutely. Is that something you want me to try and comp here? Kind of go
Sure,
through with you?
sure.
It's up to you. Totally up to you. Just anywhere we
Yeah,
can help.
I'm game.
All right. Perfect. Let's do it. Let me pull up a new browser here and minimize all my old ones and let's get going. Do you have a address that you can drop in the chat there?
Yeah, we'll start with one. I got a guy that had 100 acres. He's been splitting them up.
Okay.
So right now we were looking at his 2 acre lot, trying to get that something on that. So that's
Okay.
2941
Oh, hold on, let me grab it here. 2941
West Indian River Boulevard,
Indian River Boulevard.
and that's Edgewater, Florida.
Perfect. All right. Let me get in here. Hey, Giselle, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you all?
Good. Good, good. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely.
Let's see what we got here. Does this look like it? Little 2 acre
That's
parcel?
that's the one.
Awesome. All right, cool. So what essentially you looks like a little 4 lane highway there. So you guys are going to build on it, is that correct?
We're trying to.
Okay.
So
Walk me
there's
through it. Where are you guys at?
So right now we're trying to decide if we want to chop it in half to make them two 1 acre parcels
Okay.
and then put either a manufactured home on each one or a stick home.
Okay.
The
Awesome.
issues I'm running into out here is it's in the Indian River Lagoon moratorium for septic. There's no city sewage on this land. And
Hmm.
we can put septic in, but it's probably going to be one of the expensive systems they'll make us have. Other than that, we have access to power and everything else there.
Okay. So I'm assuming power is probably at the road.
Yes,
Is water at the road as well?
I believe so.
Okay, cool. And then septic, it sounds like you're gonna have a septic system versus sewer, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Um, great. And so what have you guys, so it sounds like you guys have a plan. How far into due diligence and all that fun stuff are you guys?
I'm probably a little deeper than he is. He's the one with the land. He's willing
Okay.
to let put up the land and let me do the other stuff that with it to get a place on it because he's
Okay.
having trouble selling it. He's got it for sale right now by owner, but
Okay.
it's just he is getting no action on it. So he was like, let's put a place on it because it would probably make it easier for me to sell.
Well, that's why he's not getting any action on it. It's not on Zillow.
Yeah, he's got it. Yeah, he doesn't have it listed. He's like, I don't want to list it. I'm an agent here in Florida, so we can list it. But he's like, I don't. He's tried to list it before and same thing, nothing.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Okay. So what do you think your next step is for kind of like moving in the next direction with this?
Well, I've been talking to the manufactured home guy, so he
Okay.
can do most of the work. Right now, the city says we can possibly split it if it passes the 300-foot wide lot that they're looking for.
Meaning
So if each acre has 300 feet across, they'll let us subdivide it.
negatory.
You
So
know,
you're
it's
at
like, uh,
308 feet total here,
okay,
right? Because you're 1.9 acres. That ish, right? About two
yeah,
acres, it
yeah,
sounds
it's like
like.
right at two, just under it, somewhere in there.
Well, that
Yeah.
clarifies the decision then. One
Yep.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So if the minor subdivide rules require at least 300 feet per lot, which seems a little weird because you have smaller lots here that clearly aren't 300 feet.
yes. So let me pull up that email real quick, see if I got this correct.
Sure. It also too, it might be as if it's 300 feet, then they'll allow you to subdivide it in half. Cross our fingers.
Yeah, let me see here. All right. Where did this go here? Okay, this is from the it would be possible to subdivide this property provided you have the minimum lot area and lot size for both lots. The property appears to be 2 acres, but may be less than 300 feet wide necessary.
Oh, well, you have 308, so you should be good. That's total.
That's a really weird way of
I agree.
saying that.
Edgewater is kind of, they have this, I don't know how to put it, like this group of people slow the growth. They're trying to slow the growth because we're
Yeah.
growing so fast. And it's really kind of backfiring because the big guys are coming in. They've sued the city 3, 4 times and won every time, and they build whatever they want. And then when me and the smaller guys want to come in, they they just keep fighting us. And we're only trying to put up, a manufactured home or a possible
Yeah,
3-2.
versus all this, right?
Yeah. So he's got a bunch of land in that stretch. He's got a 30-acre, 3.83 and that 2 acre right there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we're trying to find out what it's really worth as just land. Because I think he's trying to get, of course, he wants top dollar for it.
Yeah, of course he does.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
So I'm trying to get a realistic number that I can come to him and say, listen, this is more what it's worth. But I
Yeah.
can
What?
get him more money out of it if he'll JV with me and let me put the house on it and at the end sell it and maybe get him some more money for it.
Mm-hmm. Every subdivided parcel must have at least 20 feet of road frontage.
Well, we should have that covered.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Have you called the county?
I've sat down with the Ryan Soltis, the development services director,
Okay.
and we've gone over a lot of stuff because we were trying
Okay.
to ask him if we would be able to possibly do like a mobile home park or RV park on the 30 acres. And he's like, well, we've already turned a couple of those down and this and
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah. So mobile home parks, RV parks in general, counties normally don't like them as much.
yeah, he made that pretty clear. He's like,
Yeah.
if it would happen if I was to spend the money on the land entitlement team and go through the rigmarole, but that kills the deal,
Yeah. And so manufactured homes. So does this area around it looks like obviously you got a huge,
Yeah, so that neighborhood all through these houses is called Florida Shores.
okay.
That's like the main Edgewater old school neighborhood.
Yeah, those look like
And there's a
they're on
bunch of
top
new
of each
stuff
other.
that DR Horton's been slapping, creeping out west.
Okay. Are most of these, it looks like most of these are stick-built homes,
Yes.
right? And then it
Yes.
looks like a bunch of undeveloped. Are there any mobile homes in the area?
There is.
Okay. How
Like that
close?
that lot just to the left. Yep,
This one?
that little one there. That was part of his land. He sold that to this guy, and he's been living in a small mobile home there.
Okay.
Big mobile home park. If you keep going further left to Mission, there's a bunch of older mobile home parks. That road, right? You can
Okay.
find,
So as soon as we start crossing major highways, right, then they're going to make different distinctions. And by
yeah.
that, I mean like the county, right? So I'm looking for something like, is there something like really ideally like within this circle
Hmm.
of a mobile home, right? Because what will happen is a lot of these places being counties, they'll allow mobile homes if A, there's mobile homes already there, or B, there's like an extreme need for it. And the main reason and why when I say like extreme need, really what I'm talking about is like a lot of low income housing or affordable housing is needed in that particular area, right?
Which it
So
is.
yeah, which meaning that like, okay, this was all I'm taking a guess because I haven't looked down Zillow, right? But this is all like $300,000 housing, maybe 400 max, right? Like
Yes.
if the all these were like eight, $900,000, they're probably not going to approve a mobile home right here,
Yes.
just because of just pure economics and demographics. And those people over on this side would have an absolute fit if there's a mobile home right there.
I mean,
And
there
it's
are,
not,
oh,
and,
yeah,
and it's just that's just how it is, right?
yeah.
I don't, it's neither good nor bad. It's just kind of how it is and how people will essentially look at it. But if there's a mobile home right here, that's really good news. That means that you can probably get them to approve this. Have you sent them any sort of like email asking them like, hey, if I was to do this, do you think this would get approved? Like, have you sent them an email of like
Not yet, because we're still kind of like trying to figure out
price point?
what's the best thing to do. Because it's going to be harder for us to sell a 2 acre lot with one home on it. You know, it's
Hmm.
there's a handful of people that want a big chunk of land, but we're not going to be able to clear the whole 2 acres. It would just be clear enough, put the home in it, and here's your big old chunk of land.
Sure, sure, right? You know, you clear it and then home right
Whereas
here or something like that, and then chunk
Yeah.
of land.
So whereas if we had them both at 1 acre, that's more of a still a private retreat for most people, but they don't have that overwhelming like, oh man, this is a huge chunk of land.
Absolutely. Do you know what a mobile home on 1 acre roughly would go about price point
I
wise?
think if we did a new manufactured home, all finished and done, we could probably be in the 300 range.
Okay, cool. Have you talked to, so let's talk like through like the economics of it, right? So let me do this. All right. So if we're 300K, like even
Yeah.
350, 320, where
I
do you
mean,
think
we
you'll
could
be at?
probably push the envelope. I mean, they some of these manufacturers are really nice. So if you put a 1,500 square foot nice 3.2 4.2 on there, you probably be closer to 340. I wouldn't say I'd go much over 350 because there's brand new homes right down the road that you can get for that.
Okay. So let's say we go 325, right? Because if you're looking at a brand new like stick built versus like a brand new mobile home, in general, the stick built is just going to be, generally speaking, have more value to it. Right?
Yes.
So let's look at 325. All right. Do we know approximately how much it would cost to bring that mobile home there? Like, do you
I'm
know how much
s-
the mobile home would be approximately?
I don't know approximately. I just started talking to a mobile home guy over here who works with people in our group to
Okay.
put these on land. I just didn't get to the price yet because he was like, well, let's see if it's even possible to subdivide it, and possibly if we can't do the septic, then you can't put anything there,
Got it.
you know?
Got it. Okay, cool. So let's say a mobile home is 80K. All right. We're just gonna guesstimate 80K. All right, we're gonna need a septic system. We're gonna guesstimate that to be about 10K. You're gonna need some land clearing. It's probably gonna be another 10K. You're gonna need a survey. I'm just kind of throwing out numbers here, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
And let's do this times two. All right, because let's pretend like we're gonna get two on there, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna split it and we're gonna get two.
Yes.
All right. So that would give us, what would that be? 650.
I'd
All right.
raise your price of the mobile home to 100.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I said I'd raise the price of the manufacturing of the home to 100.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
would,
I think you can get 80K. I
yeah.
mean, let's do it at 80K and see where we're at.
Yeah, because I didn't get the price of anything because I was trying to get that with him. He's like, let's just start at the beginning. He's like, let's make sure we can get the septic in and they will split it into two.
Yeah. So here's kind of where it starts. All right. So if we go mobile home, we know we need septic, we know we need land clearing, we know we need a survey,
Mhm.
right? And that's probably a pretty aggressive price on a survey, but let's just throw it out there.
Yeah.
All right. Survey, and we'll say some miscellaneous. We'll say survey and plus split money, aka your subdivide money. So like your county, your fees and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Um, Mobile home, septic, land clearing, survey. You're gonna need driveway on there, especially too coming off of that road. I'm
Yes.
assuming that's a higher speed road.
Yes.
Okay. But it looks like there's a driveway for this guy here.
Yes. And even this in the middle of this 2 acre, there is a little entryway that goes over the ditch. So
Is that like right here, maybe? I don't know.
yeah, it's hard to see because it's so wooded
Okay.
from that picture. He's cleared a little since then, but
Okay. All right. So let's say driveway is another, let's say it's 8K. I'm I'm taking my best stab at this, by the way. So
yeah,
so bear with us. The prices will vary. All right.
100%.
So we're just taking a general stab at it because we need to figure out, okay, what's the actual economics of this? All right. So if we look at this and we go, okay, and then also too, we're gonna have, so let's do this. Let's do the math from here. All right. I'm sure, does anyone see anything that I'm missing out of there? Like big items that I'm missing?
I mean, they're probably going to get impact fees on us too, so
Hmm.
no idea what that's going to be.
Let's say it's 10K worth of impact fees.
Yeah, just because it is raw land.
I forget. Lovely Florida loves
Yeah.
their impact fees.
And believe me, they're going to tack them on there.
They love them.
Yeah.
For those who don't know impact fees, essentially when there is certain states require what's called an impact fee, and the basic idea behind it is that if you're tearing down raw land and or swamp or woods or whatever it may be, they might tax you an impact fee in order to be able to develop it. And what their thought process on it is that they're going to take that impact fee and ideally they're going to put it towards restoration of something else. All right. Once you get into larger commercial properties, you get into what's called mitigation credits. And that is a whole nother like crazy game, but that is like the next level of it. And those mitigation credits can be like millions of dollars sometimes, but oftentimes that's like people are putting up massive apartment complexes, multifamilies, hotels, that kind of thing when they start looking for mitigation credits. So we'll just say impact fees. We'll say it's 10K. All right. So if we add all those up, all right, we're at 419K left. And then we also have to do, let's see here. Sean, what was that? Sorry if I missed it, but do you already count for electric? Electric's right at the, that's a good, actually, thank you. Electric is at the road, but let's just call it utility hookups because that's going to be some money as well. And we're going to say that is, so it's 8K times 2 again. So another 16K off of that. All right, so now we're at 16 off of that is 403. All right, so we're at 403K left. Now, that's just to get, now we have everything on there. Now we also have commissions. That's probably going to be about 10% of those.
Well, commissions are a little different because I am an agent.
Okay,
So
sweet.
I wouldn't take nothing on my side because I'd be working, my money's going to come from doing the
Yep,
deal.
the back end. Sweet. What do you
So
think another
I
broker
would,
would be?
depending on the price we could sell them for, I would probably just do like a flat fee instead of like a 3%. I would say, all right, if it's a $325,000 package, I'd probably say give them 8 to 10 grand,
Okay.
which would be about 6 to 8%.
Sure. So we'll say 10K times 2 because we want to be conservative on here. All right, so that's another 20K. All right. Any sort of other marketing materials or anything like that that you're looking at?
I basically would just put it in the MLS
Okay.
and then just hit all the agents that I deal with over here, all the brokerages, and just say, hey, you got some buyers, to keep it as cheap as I can. Because MLS, everybody's going to pick it up anyway. The realtor.com, Zillow.
Yep, exactly. How much money do you want to make off of this, David, for your time, energy, and efforts? What percent, well, like what dollar profit wise would you like to make?
I would like to at least be a minimum 20. That would
Okay,
be like bare minimum.
sure. You need to make way more than that if you're going to put
Of
all in all
course.
this
I'm
work.
just saying, like, that would be like the bare actual bottom of the barrel. If
Yeah.
I made that, I wouldn't cry, but I
Okay.
would, you know.
All right. What would be your ideal then? Because we want to start at that ideal because that your profit is where all your margin is going to shrink from, right?
Yeah.
So
Ideally, I would like to make 50.
50. Okay, cool. So 50K off of that. All right. What what does he want for the land?
That's why I need to find more on the price because I think he's looking for close to 90 per acre,
90 per acre.
which I think is asking a lot.
So he's at 180,
Yes.
180. Okay. So if we look at all of this, the only other thing that we haven't taken into account yet is holding costs,
Yes.
right? Because it's going to take some time to sell those too. It's going to take time to put them on the land unless he's willing to get his 180 on the back end.
Which he is.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
'Cause he's willing to put the land up and say, hey, I'll put the land up. I'll JV with you. I'll let you do all the rest of it. And then we just figure out I might be able to get him that price doing it this way instead of just a straight out buying it, you know?
Sure, sure. So if he wants 180, right? That would leave you with another 150K in wiggle room. All
Yeah.
right. And that's after your 50,000 profit, right? So
Mhm.
180 probably doesn't seem too bad. Let's take a look and see what we can find for comps in the area. And let's
Yeah.
see where we're at.
It's
Because
hard
you're
because,
also going to have you're going to have much more miscellaneous costs onto this too. Just
oh,
FYI.
for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. Just want to make sure I'm throwing it
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
he owned most of this land in that area, but
Okay.
not a lot of it has sold beyond what he's already sold.
Okay. Let's check out what we got here. All right. Let me move you guys. All right. So let's check out sold. We're going to go to property types. We got lots and land. Filters. So when we go into filters, lot size, we're gonna go, let's look one. And we're gonna look to 5 acres. And the main reason being is because if there's one that's like 2.2, 2.3 acres, if you cap it at 2, you won't see it. So let's try that. And let's see last sold and let's say the last 12 months. And let's see where we're at here on this. There's 1 acre. All right.
What was the address on that one?
Log cabin. Log cabin lane. I'm gonna go take a peek at the map here real quick. I'm interested in what it looks like.
Okay, so that's not too far away. It's a little
Yep.
northwest of him.
Yep. So it looks like it has a little road, so it's off a
Mhm.
quieter road. It's not necessarily off a highway,
Yes.
right? There's Indian Bend, and it looks like you're kind of like over here,
Mm-hmm.
right? So not too terribly far. And that is 1 acre for 33,000. If we go here, 108, that's 5 acres.
Okay. Yeah, Ragus isn't too far either. That's just north.
Okay. Let's take a look at where we're at here. Cool. So nice, sorry, nice lot here. All
Mm-hmm.
right, some nice homes around here. Looks like a nice little house in there. Really
Yeah.
nice wooded lot. Backs up to some power lines, which might, like when we're talking about things that detract value, power lines in the background certainly do. However, it is very wooded through there, so that is definitely a benefit. Let's see what we got here. That looks like a nice.
So that's an older mobile modular, it looks like.
Yep, built in 83 for 175. So there's kind of a very, very baseline. Let's see what this is. 28,000. This one, where am I at? Sorry. Here we are. Much more of a typical kind of city infill, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just a little bit closer to other homes, and looks like definitely a stick-built neighbor.
Yes. That looks like Florida Shores.
Yeah, awesome, cool. So that one's right there. So I would say your closest comp is probably the 108 and the 34, which I know is like very, very different, but let's see here. 108, 500 divided by 4.98. So that's 21,000 an acre and then 34,000 per acre. I'm just gonna roughly estimate it's close enough. About 32,000 per acre. And how much was this guy wanting? 90 per acre?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe that's where he's at right now with it.
Sure. He's a little off his rocker on it. That's a little high.
That's kind of how I was telling him. So that's why I wanted to get a something I could more show him in the area. Like, hey,
Yeah.
this is probably part of the problem. Nobody's biting. Also, is because you're way up there
Yep. Exactly.
with no
Um,
improvements.
right. Right. So the other piece of this too, right, is we did this and this was 650 and this was for two, right?
Yes,
So if you start splitting, if you want to keep your same profit margin, which I would recommend that you'd want probably about 50K per home.
yes.
All right. So we're gonna go times two. We're gonna bump that up to 100K. All right. And then if you get through here, then you have 103K left, right? So if you're looking at it right now, your overall profit margin is 203K. Pretty healthy. Now you're going to have more fees than just this. It's not that simple. I wish it was.
Oh, for sure. I know Edgewater's they're being a-holes. So
Yeah.
they're gonna hit us for everything they can.
Yep. It's going to be challenging. The other piece of it too that I would really watch out for is that this is off a main drag,
Yes.
especially if this is higher and you have to go down to the stoplight, make a U-turn, and then come back to get onto the land.
Yes.
All right. So people will see that as something that detracts from the value. So just something to be aware of. Have we looked at other homes in that area? Like what's for sale? Let me see if we can get out here. Well, here's your properties that are this person's really off their rocker. 235,000. That's a
Yeah,
little.
there's a lot of that going around here. It's people are here, buy my 1980 house that I haven't even touched up the paint for 300,000.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah,
Let's see
you
what,
can do it.
yeah, let's see if there's any manufactured around here. Nope. Let's see about homes. Wow, there's some nice ones back
Oh
here.
yeah,
Okay.
that's down
Well,
Ragged
that's
where they built
cheaper.
some really nice homes in there.
Okay. Yeah. So
So I do have a
800K.
general contractor
Very
that,
different.
yeah, I got a general contractor that will build me some houses for a really good price.
Yeah.
So, we could put a nice 3-2 stick home on there.
Yeah. I would just watch about overinvestment. That would be my biggest concern,
Hmm.
especially with it being on a faster moving. Like, do you know what's the speed limit on here?
So
55?
once you get past Air Park, yeah, it picks up to about 50, 55, heading west towards 95.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I would just watch out for that because that's gonna start to detract that value. I would say overall, I think that land probably worth no more than 120, and that would be like a sweet of a deal given that you're gonna develop it.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I think that land goes probably for closer to like maybe 100K,
I
maybe
would agree.
100K.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't see anything
So I'm
much.
trying to give them as much information as I can to get them to like accept that, you're probably going to get a lot less if you're just going to flat out sell the land.
Yeah, and I would say 100K would be like it sits on the market for a good while because
Hmm.
unfortunately, I'm sure as you know, sounds like you live in Florida, David.
Yes.
That land is not moving very fast in Florida right now. It is very, very slow market in Florida.
Hmm.
Um, Mainly just because building has all but dried up. Um, so I'm sure that guy who builds stick built, I'm sure he's probably eager to build you something because I know
Yeah.
it is dreadfully slow there right now.
Yeah,
But
because there's
I
a
would.
bunch of infill lots in these neighborhoods, the old established neighborhoods.
Mhm.
So you can still pick those up for a good price and put some nice homes on there, and you can do pretty good. You won't have as much fight because they're all cleared, pretty much ready to go.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of how I would start walking back from it, I would put in a large contingency in there. I would also too, I would see how far you can get it without putting too much money into it to see how much, like to see how far along that subdivide you can get approved.
Yeah.
Like I'll give you a great example. So I have a subdivide going in Indiana right now, and I negotiated the contract to the point where it wouldn't close. So it won't close unless the subdivide is approved. All right. So, which is great, right? Because then I'm not like buying the land and then, oh crap, I can't subdivide it. Now I'm kind of hosed or SOL on it, right? The biggest thing with that is that I want to try and see if I can get it pre-approved, right? So I talked with a surveyor and I talked with a soil scientist, which are like the two people in that county that I need in order to get it like into the platting committee and then into the tech committee. And so essentially I'm working with a surveyor and he's been actually super awesome and very generous with his time. And he's actually drawn up a preliminary of what I kind of sent him based off of like land insights, what I kind of sent him. And he's sending that into the county to see if they can get it pre-approved. And so then I'm not spending any money before I figure out if like it's going to get approved or not.
Yeah.
The surveyor is one of two who like work in the county. So they definitely know him. They know what he's doing. The agent, it was actually on market piece. And so the agent who I've talked with about this, he also used to sit on the tech committee. And so he knows all about it as well, which is super helpful. And
Yeah.
so he's like, yeah, I don't see why this wouldn't work, but let's make sure, we dot our I's, cross our T's, and move through it appropriately. And so he's between the agent who's been helping me, which has been awesome, the surveyor who's been helping me, which is also awesome. And then I also have the soil scientist who looked at the soil maps and was like, yeah, this should be pretty good. I just actually need to go out there and actually pull the samples. So just let me know when. And so, and she can get it done in a very short window, which is amazing. So I'm kind of like, hold, 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 hold. And then as soon as the pre-approval comes back, which it should hopefully tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, cross my fingers, then it's like, okay, let's go. And so I would try and do the same thing on this. For example, like I would make sure that you can get like the survey and the soil and the perk tests and all that done. I guess that's the other thing that we didn't put in there. Well, I guess I put septic, but that's a septic system. I also forgot about like a perk test, right? That would be another probably 5K, maybe
Yeah. I'm not
3K.
sure what they charge over here for that anymore.
Yeah. Let's say 2K. So that'd be another 4K that you'd have to account for in there, right? So you'd be down to 399. I mean, just bump all these down 4K. Um, but that would be something where you're looking at it, and I would try and get as far down as you can before you spend any money.
Yeah.
See if you can get the guy down to a reasonable price. I think it sounds like there's enough margin on it. However, it also depends too on the financing component. So do you know, are you going to self-finance this? Do you have somebody who's willing to lend on it? Or what's your plan on the finance piece?
So I do
Because
have
that will
some
change
lenders
things.
that would lend on it.
Okay.
There's a bunch of people over here that are doing 100% of the ground up construction.
Awesome.
They do it in draws, so you'll get
Uh-huh.
a certain amount until you can prove you got this far. The mobile
Yep.
home guy has his own financing that he uses through his bank. He says they're really good and they'll do
Okay.
the whole thing also.
Sweet.
So there is options,
Okay.
but I'm on the
Awesome.
hook as the one that's doing the project, you know.
Yep. Part of the risk reward, right?
Yeah.
That's where that profit margin comes in,
Hmm.
right? You get to take all the risk on it. Okay, cool. So it sounds like people will lend on the ground up construction. Now, what portions have you talked to them and figured out what exactly they'll lend on? Like, Because some lenders won't lend on land clearing, but they'll lend on like grading and dirt work, but they won't lend on the land clearing. Have you talked to any of them about like specifics about that at all?
Not about that yet.
Okay.
So I called the one lender today. We're supposed to sit down and have a meeting in another week, and we're going to kind of crunch like we're doing here, just crunch some numbers and see what's going on and just talk to the lender more like what will they cover?
Yep.
You
Exactly.
know, because he
What on
wants,
that will they cover?
yeah,
What won't they cover?
because he wants to go over more numbers like we're doing here, so I can sit down with the GC, get numbers for the stick built house, see if that's possible.
Mhm.
And like I said, most of them are saying 100% of the ground up. So I don't know if that's the clearing and everything, but to me, 100% means part would be the clearing. But
Hopefully,
yeah,
hopefully
but
that's why I ask those questions, right? Is because some don't, some do. And so it's
mhm,
really important to ask those because I've had people say, "Oh yeah, we cover 100%." Oh no, but we don't cover land clearing.
yeah,
Okay, so you cover 90%
exactly. Exactly.
of what you got. So that certainly can be the case. But it sounds like this could potentially have legs for it. It just depends on all the other costs associated with that. I would try and gather a few more ideas. I think that gentleman at 180K is dreaming a little bit.
I do
I
too.
think I think 100K would be very generous. I think on the open market, he's probably going to get much less than 100K. He's probably going to get 50 to 60 grand. And then he's
Hmm.
going to have to take out commissions. Well, it sounds like he's a realtor anyway. So,
Hmm.
um, but I would say he's probably going to get 50, 60K on the open market.
I would agree. That's kind of what I would think because, like I
Yeah.
said, it's just such raw land too. I mean, it's woods,
Hmm.
solid freaking woods. He got his own tractor, honestly, and started clearing some of it.
Did he? There you
But he's
go.
also getting older. He's in his 70s, diabetic, and
Yeah.
he's over it. I'm tired of paying the taxes. I want it gone.
Yeah. Fair enough. I've heard that story before. All right.
Mhm.
Well, cool. Does that kind of help you
Yes,
kind of walk through it? Any
100%. Yeah, that
any
gives me
questions about that?
more of the big picture.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's something to just really kind of like think about when you're really looking at these types of deals. They're complex, they're complicated. There can be a lot of things that go wrong. I would also too, when you're looking at funding, right? So even if you have 203K, right? Or say you get them down to 100K, right? So then you have 179K left, so your total profit margin potentially 279, right?
Hmm.
What percentage now is the interest rate on the construction loan? How soon do you have to refinance that out? How soon are you going to sell those homes? Are you going to have to refinance and then sell them? Right? There's a lot of moving pieces there and getting two loans and paying points for the loans and things like that too, where that 279,000 sounds like it's a really healthy margin until you actually start looking at it. And then all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, how on earth do we already get down to 50K?
Yeah,
Right? And that's just mainly interest rates and other things like that. And you have to expect a 12-month holding period and something around that is what I would at least expect. So,
yeah,
Question.
yeah.
I was just wondering if this might be a good scenario for some type of creative financing with the seller arrangement. And I don't remember if this is something I heard on the last call I was on with you, Sam, here or somewhere else, but having a baseline of guaranteeing because he's getting it on the back end anyhow, having a baseline guarantee of a very minimal amount for the property, and then some type of split on from the
Profit split.
remainder of the profit, because
Mhm.
then that would be an easier way maybe for him to get what he's looking for, ensuring that you still get your profits. and things are, does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. That's
Yeah.
kind of the way it's going with him. Like I said, he's willing to put the land up in the beginning for me anyway.
Hmm.
Right.
So there will be no purchase of the land. He's just willing to say, here it is. We would just have to work out, like you said, here's the baseline price. If we go through with this, this would be your, 50 grand a piece or whatever.
Yep. And so that's Giselle, what you're describing is called subordination. So
Okay.
he's subordinating the land to David in order to be able to go and build on it, right? So, for example, if he goes and gets a loan on it, right? So David is going to go get the loan, all right? And we're going to say the seller's name is Bob, right? So Bob owns the land, he owns it free and clear, all right? And so he's going to what's called subordinate the land to David. So meaning that he's going to allow David to take out a construction loan in first position on it, all right? And so how that works is the bank will essentially be in first position, the seller's in second position, right? Behind the bank and behind whatever David takes out of the bank in order to be able to profit on the back end. And so once that happens, David gets full rights. So as soon as Bob subordinates the land, David gets rights as long as the contract is written properly. David gets rights to do and improve and use the land however he desires in order to try and get it to have a mobile home on it. All right. So clearing it, septic tests, all the testing, surveys, everything, perk tests, driveways, impact fees, everything. David is responsible for that. And then you can negotiate where you want the split, right? So you can do a base plus a percentage, which I think is kind of like what you're thinking of, Giselle, right? Where it's like,
Yeah,
hey, Bob, I will give you 25,000 per lot plus 10% of whatever it sells for,
exactly.
right? And so then you can kind of give them like a higher, like, hey, if it sells, you're going to get a higher payment. If after price cut and it doesn't sell, you're going to get a lower payment, right? And so you can do that. How I would try and structure this as best you can, David, is I would say, hey, Bob, I will give you 100K for your land, which is 50,000 per acre, which is way higher than what you would get on the open market, right?
Mhm.
Right now, comps are around, you know, 20 to 30,000 per acre, and I'm going to give you 50,000 per acre. However, I'm going to, I want you to subordinate the land, and I'm only going to pay you once the mobile homes I'm going to put on them sell. I would do no payments, no interest, no nothing until it sells. And I would try and see if you can negotiate into that because that's going to make sure that you don't have extra holding costs and extra payments to Bob while you're trying to sell it, right? Because he's probably going to
Yeah.
try and do like an interest only kind of thing or something like that. And I would say, no, I'm only going to do this if you're going to do it on the back end, right? As soon
Yeah.
as these sell, I'll give you 50,000, which is 20,000, 25,000. That's more than double what price per acre is. But I'll only do it if you allow me to pay you on the back end.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I would kind of take a look at. Sean, did you have a comment in there? I know you got something good.
Yeah, sorry, I just needed to figure out where the unmute button was. I love that creative aspect. That's what I've been thinking about for a minute now. Even if you're doing 50K an acre, what's that? That's 15% down towards a 325 purchase price. So even if you were to go through the whole process, do the subordination clause, get everything set up, and you go and you're going to be making the payment to the seller for 50K, that's essentially a 15K down for someone to come in. And then you could even do a seller finance instead of 325, you could be doing something like 375 and just depend upon what your underlying note is and actually ramp that up just a little bit more. So say that your hard money costs are going to be like 9 or whatever it is right now. I mean, you could still go a little bit more and you can make more money each month than just doing a higher interest rate to somebody that might not qualify. I'm not sure what the demographic is over there. If there's a lot of people that want to be able to have one of these, but they just can't go traditionally qualify, it might be a way for you to make more money in the long term aspect. And it's a good win-win solution for you, for the seller, and then for the end buyer. So I was thinking about I was already running numbers over here, just trying to figure that kind of stuff out too.
I love it.
Um, Another thing that I actually had today was I was working on some land in Florida, and there was like wildlife. They were talking about like there was turtles or something like that, and that's
Tortoises.
yeah,
Yeah.
tortoises. And so, I mean, that's just stuff I'm not familiar with. And they also mentioned eagles or other birds and stuff like that, and the costs associated with those animals and wildlife in those areas. It was something like $8,000 to $10,000 to relocate one tortoise.
Yep.
Hmm.
And it can be a 6-month waiting period because a lot of the facilities are full. So there is also a lot of land that's sitting on market longer due to these reasons, but I'm sure it sounded like you were an agent in the area and maybe you could shed light on it. This was all new to me today. But it's like when I see, land like that where you're going to have to go in and open things up and do a lot of, leveling and getting everything over there. I was wondering if there was another cost associated with having an environmentalist go out to make sure that there's no endangered species or anything like that on the land. It was just another thing that I was thinking about, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure if that's in that area.
Yeah, I don't know if they technically, if you have to do that. I mean, they're plowing everything down over here. Doesn't seem like anybody cares anymore about anything. Just here's the
Okay,
land.
yeah, I get maybe this different part of
But
Florida.
yeah,
I don't
you're
know.
right about the gopher turtles. They are protected here in Florida.
Okay.
So, if they are on the land, if as long as they're not in the area you're building, you can leave them on the property.
Mm,
But if it's like right smack in the middle and that's where you're gonna have to clear to put the foundation or the mobile home or a septic, they're gonna want you to relocate them.
yeah.
We're
Yeah.
not even supposed to touch them. People over here, they'll get out of their car and get them out of the middle of the road. You're not even supposed to do that. You're supposed to just let them cross the road and leave them alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. I appreciate that was just my thoughts on it.
Oh
But
yeah, that's like I
I
said.
think you could definitely
Yeah.
do some negotiating with that seller and figure it out. Um, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah,
So good
and
luck. Sounds
he's
like you got
very
something.
open. I've established a good relationship with him. I've done some work at his house to help him out, and he invited me out to the land one day, walked me through it. He's got a briefcase full of paperwork for the last 30 years that he's been dealing with the city, the St. John's water management. So he knows more about this land than the city does.
Sure.
So he's always in there trying to educate him on what, what's really going on. But
Cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's awesome. I actually I have a tortoise story too. So I have a buddy who's very familiar. So he's a wetland mitigation specialist. All right. So remember how we were talking about those wetland mitigation credits? So
hmm
that's all that he does. That's the only thing that he does is wetland mitigation credits. And so he came across this 100 and something acre, I think it was like 110 acres or something like that, 108 or something, somewhere around there, a hair over 100 acres in the middle of Florida that the seller just could not sell. And the main reason being is because there's four tortoises on the property
hmm
and they were $10,000 a piece. And so, in order to move them, you have $40,000 plus the cost of the land, plus it was really hilly and it was in wetlands, and then you'd have to get other mitigations. And so, what he did is he actually made it a tortoise sanctuary. And so, he literally said, "Hey, you have a tortoise, no problem. Come bring it on over here. I have room for it." And so, people would pay him $10,000 to take their tortoise, put it on his land. So he has, I think it's like 15 tortoises or something like that on the land, maybe more.
Nice.
15, 18 tortoises on the land, which is pretty cool. And because the land can't be used because of all these tortoises, he went and got wetland mitigation credits for it. meaning that he bought the land, I think it was for like 200,000. He has 10 tortoises at 4,000 a piece, right? So he's $40,000 that of his total like 100 or $200,000 purchase price. And then 110 acres of wetland mitigation credits. He got paid 425,000 for it,
Wow.
for the credits, because somebody needed a credit and whatever. And so he's like, yeah, I literally got paid to buy this land. He's like, now I can't do anything with it. He's like, however, though, if you have tortoises on it, you can still like hunt it. You can still go out and like walk around on it. You can do whatever. And so he's essentially gave access to like the local university, gave them access to study all the tortoises. Plus, then also too, he goes and he hunts on it. So he
Nice.
literally got like free land, plus all these people paying him to get tortoises and the mitigation credits and all that for it. So kind of a cool like random like side note. I remember when he was telling me that, I was like, dude, no way. And he showed me everything and I was like, oh my gosh, you literally got paid 200K to buy this property. This is
Yeah,
amazing. You
that's
know,
cool.
like, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Giselle, can't beat him, join him. Exactly. Exactly. So I was just like, that's awesome, man. I need to figure out a way to find some property like that where it'll pay me in the long run. And also too, because it's a tortoise sanctuary, his taxes are low.
Yes.
So he's like win, 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 like left, right, and center, which is awesome. Um, cool. The one other thing too, Sean noted, which I think is actually a really important um idea and concept within land investing, is being able to do seller finance notes. And this is kind of my plan for my own subdivide, but you can do this also, David, on your mobile home package, right? So
Yeah.
if you have enough profit margin, which it looks like you will, right, from the first one, you can potentially pay them totally off on that first one. So your first house sells, you pay them totally off. And then you own that second home minus all your construction costs, right?
Hmm.
You own that second home where you can now do a seller finance on it, right? And maybe if, the loan on it is, 8% or 7%, and you can seller finance it for 10%, because most people with a mobile home, 10% isn't outrageous interest rate, but you can go 10% on that. Now, all of a sudden, you can either arbitrage that and make those payments or seller finance it. The only downside is that if somebody all of a sudden decides to not pay, then you have to foreclose on it. So you have some potential risk and headache there. But that's
Hmm.
another really, really good point that Sean brought up, is that like you can then go and seller finance that. With my
Yeah.
subdivide, my plan is I owe the guy 60K every lot that's sold. I have 5 lots. My plan is to try and pay him off as soon as possible because I do have an interest rate on that. And so my plan is to pay him off as soon as possible and then have the last lot or two potentially be completely owned free and clear by me. And then I can sell or finance them and have monthly cash flow
Yeah.
coming in off the land.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are doing lease with options to buy these days
It's
also.
option.
So
Yep.
there is
100%.
other options. To me, it was kind of like because he does have other land. Like just to the left of that house with the mobile home, he's got 3.83 acres, and he also has a 34.95 acres. So there's the 3.83.
This
That's
is a
the 34
34.
acres that you're on right now.
You want a
Sweet.
negotiating partner?
So he has this
Sounds like a
34
killer.
that has a what's called a RC, recreational corridor. So on the very back of it, there is a spot that they want you to leave for the wildlife and this and that, but you would still have access to a good 15, 20 of the acres. You could,
Oh, of here.
yeah,
Interesting. Recreational corridor. Okay.
yes. I've never heard of that. He was showing me all the paperwork. So somewhere there's like a skinny layer at the top that runs through these woods called a recreational corridor that you're not going to be able to just plow down and build on, which is fine because you can still use a lot of it up front.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Could you do a mobile home park in the bigger area and then
I
even put
tried. They're
even
being,
put a like a walking path through the corridor
that's
so
what
that
I,
it's kind of like an
yeah, that was my idea. And I went to the city and they just kept,
They're
he
like,
said it's
no.
not impossible. Like it wasn't like 100% no, but you can just tell by the way that he was talking and the people that have been voted into the city commission on the slow to growth. I'd have to get that rezoned into a PUD to do that, and they're going to fight me on it.
Mm,
You know, I'm
yeah.
not the big guy. If I was the big guy with a team of lawyers that can go in there and pick the books apart and say, yes, he can do this, I'd get it. But,
Yeah.
I'm the small guy. So I got to be able to get this land, like you said, for 50 grand, have him put the land up and be able to do it that way.
I
But yeah,
Yeah.
that 34 is a nice chunk of land right there. It's
I think be like the tortoise protector. Figure out what is needed and work with
mhm.
it instead of trying to fight something.
100%. Well, finally what I told the guy, I go, what's the compromise? Where's the middle ground of something that I can do that you guys aren't gonna like fight me on? You
Ask them
know?
what you need.
Yeah. So
Um,
he ended the meeting shortly after I said that, and I haven't talked to him since.
Yeah.
Yeah. It,
The, the other piece too is if you're ever going into like an entitlement or a major subdivide or like a mobile home park development or something like that, oftentimes you're going to have a community hearing,
yes.
and that is where you get torn apart.
Hmm.
Is
Well,
people around. Sometimes that can be really challenging
yes.
piece of it. It all just depends on what people want around there. In general, the vibe of most people nowadays is not in my backyard kind of thing.
Hmm. The
Because
problem is
people,
like the new manufacturers look really nice. Most people's version in their mind, they see a mobile home park as the old school 70s, 80s mobile homes. And they do look, kind of trashy, but I was past that in the back of that 34 though. There's a 10-acre lot up at the end of that dirt road. Past that one on the blue, go up one more. See that house, that white house? Nope, just to the left there. So he sold that land to them, and that's the fire chief
mm,
of Edgewater. So he's probably got some sway of what's going to be able to be put further down his road.
yeah, yeah, that's an interesting dilemma you got there. It sounds like
Okay.
the guy sounds like you're going to be fighting the city quite a bit,
Yes.
is what it sounds like. So,
I mean,
you
he's
know,
been fighting them for 30 years, so
right. And so whenever I see that, right, I'm going, man, the profits might be there, but man, this is gonna be a tough road.
yeah, it's gonna be a lot of work.
Yeah. And also too, I'm sure you've looked at modular homes.
Yes.
Those, I mean, some of those, I drove by a couple the other day and I was like, I didn't realize that this was a modular home.
Hmm.
It looked really great. Uh,
Yeah.
where the walls came in on a semi and then they just piece them
Yep.
up almost like Legos or just like erector sets, and then bolt the walls together. And
Yeah.
it's a pretty cool, nice product too. Like they look like some really nice homes. So it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily take the aesthetic of your classic like 70s, 80s like mobile home park.
Well, I ran that by the city. I have a guy in our group. I don't know if anybody's ever met Bryce LeConte yet. But he does modulars, and he
Mhm.
wanted that 34 acres. He goes, "I'll take it." He was going to put workforce housing there with modular.
I
Mm.
thought you guys were talking modular when you said mobile homes for 80,000. I was thinking modular.
Mm.
No, no, these I was looking at the manufactured, which is the newer
Okay.
version of a mobile home.
Oh, but modular would be the good way to go.
Yes, so modular, I was just trying to think of the best way to get on this land and the fastest, because a stick built still going to take a while to get up.
modular will look better, won't be too much more money, and will probably be more acceptable for the growth of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is kind of a cool one. I had somebody I know build something very similar to this. Essentially, photo gallery. So I mean, they're kind of tiny homes, but they're kind of workforce housing
Yes.
type
That was the ultimate goal I ran by him was he knows they need workforce housing in this area, but we've had so many people try to bring it and they've shut every one of them down.
Yeah.
Don't matter
Yeah.
how nice it was going to be. But the
Mhm.
Horton can come in and put townhomes and houses up wherever they want, you know?
Yeah. It's a hard kind of happy medium, if you will, to try and figure out exactly what they will allow versus what they won't allow.
Yes. Yes.
Gotta
So,
find out who
Like,
they're actually fighting.
mhm. Like I don't mind going in and talking to him, but every person that got voted in the past 4 years over here was voted in on the slow the growth platform. So the community is like
yeah.
their neighborhoods are getting flooded. They've never been flooded in 30, 40 years. These people have been living in Florida shores and never been flooded until they started building further out with all these neighborhoods.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it was the neighborhood's fault because that hurricane was disgusting that came through that year. So,
It was a hurricane. I
yeah.
mean,
And it dumped. I mean, I've never seen that much rain come down that fast and that hard. I don't know what any infrastructure that could have handled that amount of rain all at once, you know?
love it.
Could you reach out to DR Horton and see what they would pay for it?
Probably I can ask him. They probably already asked him.
You know, and
You
just
know,
reverse engineer
the
if it's going to
problem
be a
is that septic. So to do the
Mm,
workforce housing that I wanted to do, the guy was like, "How much crap will they let me pump?" Basically, you know, because he builds these all over the U.S. and the ones that have a septic, he can make a big field and a big system to handle the whole place. But will the city allow that?
yeah. I mean, give it a try.
Yeah.
The septic is probably going to be the biggest limiter on that. My guess is that DR Horton or other large builders, nationwide builders, are probably going to say ixnay on that. But
Yes. Yeah. There's so much land that they have all the infrastructure, and they can just come in and, oh, this looks good. Let's put 4,000 houses up.
It
yeah,
looked like Lennar was right across the street too. When we did the Google view, it said like Lennar Vineyards. I was guessing it was Lennar, the builder, but I'm not
It
sure.
could be like it's said these big guys they're building up so much around here. Just on the other side of 95, where that property is, they're building this thing called Deering Park, and it's going to go from Edgewater to New Smyrna Beach. It's going to be like, I mean, 400 or 500 acres. It's going to be commercial, residential, just a massive swath of land. They're going to put houses and businesses and
all the above.
possibly a data center, which we're trying to fight.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, does that kind of help you at least get into
100%.
the next step? Give you at least a few different things for homework to.
Yes, because I need to call him tomorrow anyway and see, because he's been trying to work with the city on some other things on this land. So I just want to touch base with him and go over, would you be open to splitting it if they'll let us split it?
Mhm.
Give them a more realistic view of the what could go down, you know?
Yeah. I would even try and like draw it out. Try and draw out like how you would want it. Be like, hey, go, I want to split it like this. And so
Yeah.
then they can like see it, they can visualize it, they can think about it, right? And like
Mhm.
kind of give them that vision. That might help them a little bit in terms of trying to figure out how to get that approved. But
Yeah. Because I
yeah,
think
and
they'll let
and
him.
find out the numbers too, like Giselle mentioned.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot involved, but I'm willing to go in and get stuff done as long as, it's worth it for me.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Sweet. Well, thanks, David. Thanks for bringing up that question. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hopefully everyone learned a little bit from it. I know I
Yeah.
did. I learned more about tortoises and things like that as well. Those are always cool Florida things, but
hmm
love it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions? Bueller?
Anyone?
Anyone? All right. Awesome. Well, let's do we gotta do our classic here. We gotta do our photos. So let's see her. Is anyone not on camera? There she is. She's coming. Hey Maribel. Thanks for hanging out. All right, everyone. Smile. Your biggest big chi. Love it. Awesome. Got it. Thank you guys so much for coming. And we will be back on Wednesday at noon Central. Noon Central. So bring your questions, bring your parcels, and we'll go from there. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys. Thanks for coming.
Have a good night.